I come into picture, because fintech, as the word suggests, it is a more fewer part is tech, but still that tech is very critical. So that is where I come into picture. So I have been doing fintech before even that word was well known, and it was
And
in buzz.
yeah, and cool, so to say.
Yes, correct.
Very interesting. And Shalini, this is the first time I'm meeting somebody who has double masters. So
I have
Shalini,
three.
you have three? Oh, I read two, double in your profile. How?
I have a master's in physics, master's in biophysics, and also a master's in corporate law.
Wow. Please tell me, how come from physics and biophysics to law? Like, what made you do that such a sudden change? Like, I think it's a 180-degree shift in the profile.
The journey is not complete because after law, right now I'm doing my PhD in finance, and they are all intrinsically connected. Intellectual property cannot. It needs three legs. One is technology, one is law, and the third is finance. So once all these three legs are in place, only then I can call myself a true intellectual property practitioner. So I'm almost there.
Well, that's really interesting because being an engineer and I've been working in cybercrime for quite some time. So I was always interested because we had to come across a lot of places where law was involved, right? So I was reading about cyber law and all. So I was thinking that should I do law? Then I was like, no, I don't have time. But looking at your profile is actually inspiring me that I should, because if you can do three, I think I can do two at least. I can
Yeah,
try.
definitely.
Okay, Vikram. So coming back to you, where do you think this fintech industry and banking is heading towards? Because we have already seen a lot of and you've been mentoring startups also from what I've seen in your profile. Lots of startups you've been mentoring. Where do you think this industry is going? Because a couple of my friends are into AI, ML. A lot of startups are evolving right now, but we've still not reached that stage, where banking industry is very open to taking all these startups, let us experiment with APIs and multiple technologies right now, which are available at the moment. So where do you
Sure.
think the future lies in?
Sure, thanks. So basically, if you look at very recently, along with Jeffries India, I have published one report on fintech industry, and that is a 186 page, in a way, a book also, you can say. That is a report covering all the aspect of fintech.
180.
And yeah, 186 pages overall. And very recently, like a couple of days back, it was released, and yeah, so effectively, it is kind of a book itself, 186 page. And I can tell you that much, that as a part of even Verenium Next Gen, which is a venture capital fund, and we invest into early stage fintech focused fund. So it is the early stage startups that we look at, not pre-revenue, but early revenue and growth. So whenever we look at all these startups, look what has changed. Earlier in India, the issue was that the cost of doing business was very high,
Correct.
and you had financial inclusion as a goal, but you cannot do it because there is no commercial sense in that, right? So because of India's tech, how the government has created this entire pipeline, the cost of transaction is going down, number one. Second, some of these newer initiatives like account aggregator, very recently in September it got launched, and it allows you to share your financial data similar to how you share your UPI transaction, right? UPI transaction is for money, but
Correct.
this is for data. So now it allows you to again further reduce the cost of transaction in acquiring certain trusted data. Because today also when you ask for revenue proof, somebody will upload PDF file, but it can be tempered, so you don't know.
Correct.
But once it is from the source directly from the bank or somewhere which is trusted area, and through API you can directly get, and there is a RBI approved NBFC called account aggregator NBFC, and they are sending it data through the pipeline, API pipeline. So this creates a trusted environment, and this is changing the world as we speak. And finally, OCEN, which is the Open Credit Enablement Network, this is going to again do the UPI moment for credit industry.
Correct. Correct.
So this is the entire value chain that is being created, and I personally believe it will be very exciting time, at least in India, for next 5 years minimum. And growth wise, you can see in this year itself we have added so many unicorns, right? So you can clearly see that whatever we have done, invested into,
Yes.
are converting into result, and unicorns are this year most number of unicorns we have seen, right? 30 unicorns so far, I think 31st. 31 unicorns.
I'm glad being from this industry. I think it just shows like a bright future for people like us. I'm so glad.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Okay, coming back to you, Shalini, tell us something about patented law. You have your own company as well, right? Patented
Yes.
Network.
Yes.
Yes.
So Patented Network is a platform that I have launched recently. Shinam, 95% of the patents world over lie uncommercialized. So the inventors, they put in so much resources and time and effort into inventing something, and only 5% of those actually see some kind of commercialization. And I wanted to change that. And I feel like my entire journey as a patent lawyer for the last 10, 11 years has been working towards this. And I finally have the wherewithal to start this. And I think it's going to be an amazing platform. I already have a lot of universities during the pandemic, they have filed for 600, 700, 1000 patents in the last
Wow.
year. And universities are, they're a hotbed. This is the perfect place where there is creativity, there is talent,
True.
there are resources, but they also not interested in commercialization, they are interested in future research. So why not take that and bring it to the industry where we have solutions, we have problems, and a patented network is a place where we can do a matchmaking for these problems that exist in solution providers.
Yeah.
So that's what Patented Network does. We also do valuation of patents, valuation of businesses, valuations of companies. They are very different from valuation of patents because this is a unique combination of technology and law. And so and also it has a finite lifetime. So to value it in a way that is recognizes its uniqueness, at the same time gives you a proper value, I think that is required. So I'm also certified patent valuation analyst, and I wanted to bring this product, the service to the market, and try to change that 95% 5% ratio and flip it over and say, in a few years we should have 5% uncommercialized and 95% commercialized.
I hope so. But Shalini, can you also tell us the story that made you shift towards patent? Because I think, yeah,
Yes, there's an interesting story about that. I was, hardcore into physics, and I wanted to do my PhD in physics and biophysics, and that was the plan. I was all set. And I went to the US. I went to Ohio State University, and the first day that I had to choose a lab for rotation, and I still remember what I was wearing, what the lab was like, and who I met first. And the professor that I was going to do my rotation under, he was very upset that day. He didn't give me the welcome that he wanted to give me and that I was expecting in a new country, in a new place.
yeah,
And later on in the day, I realized that he had come up with an invention for mixing. I won't get too technical here, but for mixing certain bacteria to study it better. And he had disclosed this to his friend in confidence, and the friend went ahead and got it published and also filed a patent for that mixing technique.
a friend.
Yes, a close friend.
Oh,
So he was really upset, and that was the first time as I was 22, and I new country, new places, but I was fascinated with this new topic that I had just figured out, that someone is stealing someone's invention. And then I started looking up patents, and then I said, what, this is the place I want to be, because now I have the perfect background with studying technology and reading technical papers and writing in a technical language. And I think the next thing I want to do is study law. But there was no specialization in intellectual property law. Everyone was offering one paper on patents, one paper here, one paper there, one semester. I didn't want to embark on that. I wanted something that was all encompassing. And then it seemed like IIT heard my prayers. And I used to be a professor in the US. I was heading a lab. And then suddenly I saw this article in the Times of India that they have broken ground. They've done a Bhumi Pujan in IIT Kharagpur for a school specializing in intellectual property law. I
that
kid you not, Shinam. At the end of that year, I left that job. I came back to India. I traveled for a bit, and then I joined IIT to study IPR.
wow. what was your family's reaction when you decided that you want to do this? You have to know that.
Oh gosh, they really, at that time, I think everyone except a handful of people, my boyfriend then, who is now my husband, except for him and a couple of other people like him, I think everyone thought I was off my rockers. They said, you know what, this girl has no direction. She doesn't know what she's doing. First, we told her not to do physics. That was a dead end. Now, law, you know, the idea that we have of law, we had of lawyers those days, that they were no disrespect intended, but you're sitting and doing affidavits and wills and typing up something in a black coat. That was the idea of a lawyer. And my parents were like, we don't know we don't know what she's doing. Don't ask us any questions.
Especially people were very scared of lawyers. I mean, there still are a couple of them. I know I have a couple of friends who are lawyers, and people are so scared of them whenever we walk into some place. So yeah, I get that.
So yeah, it seemed at that time that there was no direction, but it was also a very, very new field in those days. There weren't too many players in the IPR. IPR was not a buzzword like it is now. Government is putting in so much more effort and funds into promoting it now. And the timelines are shorter and the procedure is more crisp. But this didn't exist back then.
It's
So
evolving. I think the industry is evolving.
yes.
Very interesting. So Vikram, coming back to you, what is the philosophy of life? Something that keeps on inspiring you, something that motivates you, or something that keeps you going. Because the industry that you're working in is not easy, because you will see a lot of failures also of startups who are coming, and even though they have like the best of the brains available, but still somewhere something doesn't click. And going ahead with every day trying to motivate new startups, taking them forward in this technology. What is it that?
Definitely, you are bang on target. So what happens is, Shalini mentioned, there are two things which drives me. One thing is that, okay, I need to stay updated, because look, I'm also academician and industry person, so it is a good combination to have. But at the same point in time, I need to make sure that whatever I'm teaching, at least I should know 110% about it. Then only I can teach 100%. So that is the first thing. And fintech being very dynamic, every day something new will happen. So I have to dedicate 2 hours at least every day. Every day I need to dedicate 2 hours to do some research. That is one thing. Second thing, so what I have also started is Association for Emerging Technologies. That is a not-for-profit section at company.
Oh,
And the
wow.
idea is that, okay, so for example, this NFT that we are trying to issue, or let's say we are talking about, right? And this NFT is half an hour session that I have, right? So
Yes.
one-on-one session, half an hour is whatever cost it is. So in fact, this will fund one-on-one session to those who cannot afford it. And that indirectly allows people who are, let's say they are trying to do something good, they are from not so good background, but they would like to start some startup, but they don't know what technology to use, how to get it done. And that is where AT comes into picture. AT provides this free of cost training, workshop, and provides tools and software also free of cost, so that these guys can get it done and make sure that they have some level playing field. Otherwise, they can't do it, right? So the idea here is that we want to make sure that there is something I can give it back to the society. And I have been part of even government of Maharashtra's fintech ambassador program in Uday platform, teaching some of these students even pro bono. And overall, I want to make sure that people should have some opportunity which they can grab and convert into actual reality, right? So you have seen so many people dreaming big, not able to achieve it just because they don't have right resources, or they are not at right place in right time, right?
Right time, yeah.
So that is what I want to make sure that I am able to do it. And finally, what you mentioned, right? And making sure that what they can do to survive, sustain, and grow. So there are three things that you need to remember. One thing is that for any startup, first ensure that besides you, there are enough people who are interested into that product. Otherwise, if you are interested, but the problem statement is not good enough,
Not
it
good.
is not worth solving, then it is not going to help you. So that is first.
First.
Second, don't make assumption that you are good enough to do everything on your own. The only reason I have not started my startup, because I know that I need to have a team. And you need to have a proper trusted team which you can work with. So
Correct.
if you don't have that, don't just jump into it saying that I can do it on my own. Not possible. And finally, it is a journey. It is not like one day you can hit. It is not T20. It is a test match, right? So you can't hit sixes and say you will win. It is a T20 versus test match where you need to play with much more difficult pitch and ball, and you need to work out your entire journey. That's it.
Wow, Vikram, you put it really nicely because when I started this journey, everybody has been telling me the same thing. But when you are in that stage, it is very difficult because you want very fast success because you don't have that much patience. But yeah, over the years, I've learned it, and you put it very correctly. And another thing that what you're doing is very noble. You're trying to help people who don't have enough resources. So please let me know if I can be of any help to that initiative. From whichever way, I'll be happy to help that way. Very, very, but very noble. I'm really liking it. So, coming back to you, Shalini, what is your philosophy of life?
I think my philosophy is you got to keep reinventing yourself. You have to keep working, you have to keep learning, and you have to keep reinventing. I think without that, you'll stagnate. And before I continue on my philosophy, I have to applaud Vikram for the work he's doing and what he's planning with the NFT. I'm really inspired. So yes, so this NFT, human NFT that is happening is one of the sections where I am reinventing myself, just trying to learn something about a new field, and it's a new it's an experiment, so I want to be there and I want to learn something from it, and give something in the process. But it's not as glamorous a field as being an influencer. But I hope I can contribute in some way to the the startups and people who are looking to build an IP portfolio, which is required these days when you're looking for investors and you are looking to go into the market. So any kind of advice that is needed and help in building that portfolio, I'm looking forward to that. But going back to your question, my philosophy is I have to keep learning. I learn. So every year I have this goal of one step forward, learn a work of art, either a poem or a song, one athletic. I'm not an athlete, but some improvement in that area, and some knowledge gained.
Wow.
Which is a philosophy I try to stick to for every year. So now it's time to settle the accounts for this year in a couple of weeks.
But that's really great because we've seen that there's a lot of generation gap between our parents and us, because I think after an age they stop learning. Right now, talking to both of you, I can see that both of you are very focused about learning new things. Like Vikram is focusing continuously on fintech, new technology that is coming up. You're focusing on different domains, not just the law and the biophysics. So, and thank you so much for being part of the Human Talent NFT, and one thing, every day talking to people who are going to be issuing the NFT inspires me so much that everybody is from such a different domain and have different philosophies of life. It's really inspiring. So last question for people. I mean, I was actually going to ask you, both of you, to answer this question, but Vikram, I've already got the answer. I don't really see why would somebody not buy your NFT. I mean, that's really great. So coming back to you, Shalini, just give us like a small, tagline or something. Why should somebody buy your NFT?
We create IP for you.
That's like a perfect tagline. We create IP for you. So anything you guys want to say about Talent NFT? So for all the people who are watching this right now, the NFT sales would be live on 18th of December. It will be open for just 24 hours. It will be first come, first serve basis. And we have such an interesting people on the platform. I think most of the people who are issuers are going to buy each other's NFT because
I am going to do that.
And just remember, guys, that this is something which you can use for future purpose, right? So the idea is that it is not for the timing that you are just going to use it immediately. So it is kind of an asset which will appreciate as well, depending on in whose NFT you are investing. So as I tell everyone, because I'm CA, CFA, so it goes without saying that in any investment, you have a risk, you have a return.
Correct.
So this is the NFT that you are talking about is something which will consume. So that is a captive risk that you have. If you are going to consume, then it is perfect. But apart from that, if you want to sell, if you are holding it for appreciation, then you need to think about where you are investing, what you are investing into, and that goes without saying. Over to you.
Absolutely fine. And apart from that, I am interested in so many people's NFTs. I mean, I don't think this is going to last for more than like before 24 hours only. I am hoping that will be sold out. Just wishing that, and all the best, both of you. And yes, like Vikram said, NFT, it's an investment that you can keep it for whenever you wish. Like, for example, a lot of people can invest in right now and whenever, at whichever stage in career they need advice from, mentoring from Vikram, and they need help in law and IP from Shalini, they can redeem it. It's not immediate. So let's hope for the best before the prices. People, please buy before their prices go up, because this is the first lot and then next the price is going to increase. So all the best, both of you. It was really nice talking to you. I hope to see you soon in the next streaming sessions, and let's make it interesting.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you, Shinam. Thank you, Vikram. I learned a
Thanks.
lot
Bye,
from you both
Shalini
today.
and Shalini.
Same, Vikram. I'm like really, really nice. Very noble things that you're doing.
Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Bye. See ya. Take care.
Bye. See you.